Hello and welcome to Modern Toy Fair. Today we are going to tell you how to save Hasbro. I am your host, Mr. Modern Toy Fair, and I am joined by the founder of the NEC Illuminati, the procrastinator of pre-orders, the delayer of shipments, the YouTube wife, Mrs. Modern Toy Fair, Jarmar_Games. But that's not all. I am also joined by the man Modern Toy Fair has full custody over, the man Optimus Prime popped and he refuses to stop, the Twilight Knight, the master of Mac, the three-pump chump of taking the show off the Royals, Nate. How you guys doing this week?
Good.
Doing fine. Doing fine.
Doing okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So this week this week we are going to discuss how to save Hasbro, because it seems they have very clearly lost their way. Whether it's price changes, plasticless packages, or HasLabs that some of us think are worth it and others don't. So, this was Nate's idea, so I'm going to kind of let you start off and set some parameters here of how you want this to go.
All right. So obviously this past week, on Monday, I guess 11:59 as of October 31st, the Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance Robbie Reyes HasLab project failed, and I take no glee in this whatsoever, because honestly, I like to see all of these projects succeed. But this one may have been the most colossal failure yet. Now, I know the numbers were higher than, say, the lightsaber was, but I don't think by that much, and also I don't think we've ever heard the community speak as loudly as they did with this one. The couple days before, all of the stretch goals were laid out literally on the table, all, highly desirable figures. And the needle, I think it maybe went up 400.
Yeah, if that. It was not
if
much.
that.
It went from like 48 something to just over 5,000.
Okay, yeah, right. It was even less than that.
Yeah,
So
I think it ended at like 580 or 5080.
Yeah, and that is, like I said, I think maybe the lightsaber may have done less, but this one is kind of mind blowing. Even the Rancor, which was a highly kind of controversial, derided project, that actually came within 500 of hitting the goal within the last few hours.
Yeah, the countdown for that was like intense.
Yeah, it was like a mad dash, and this one was not. They went in with close to 5,000 on Monday afternoon and finished out the night the same way. And I think this sends a direct message. Like I said, I think this one speaks the loudest, because the other two Marvel HasLabs, which were different types of projects, and we can talk about that too, but one of them hit, I think, 28,000, and the other hit 26,000 total numbers across the board for each of them. That was the Sentinel for the first one, and then the Galactus, which has just now, for the most part, I think, shipped out to almost everybody. So people are enjoying those now. But those are big numbers when you consider that that's 21 to 22 or ish. I don't know. My math is not that good, but at least 20,000 more than what this project got. There was a lot of discussion around price, but I also think it was the type of project that it was as well. I think that lent itself to its failure. So I kind of want to get your guys' reaction on what happened with the HasLab, what you think was an issue, because I know, Michael, did you pledge it?
I pledged it, and I advocated it from fucking start to finish.
Right. I knew you were into it. I didn't know if you actually,
day one, I
owned up.
Mm-hmm.
Right on. Let's talk about that. You go first, because you're someone who, you're coming from a definitely different place, where I was more I'm aware of the Robbie Reyes character. It's
Mhm.
not the Ghost Rider I know, and that definitely hurt things for me. And also, no longer being a comic Marvel Legends collector, I just wasn't interested. But so I'm kind of like the middle, I think, whereas you were on the other side.
So I guess first and foremost, I should specify I wasn't necessarily excited about this for Robbie Reyes specifically.
That's right.
Right? No, I know.
I was
know.
more into it
Yours
because
was the
I
car.
wanted the car. As
Yeah.
someone who likes to do displays, likes to do the figure photography, all that. I wanted the car, especially something with that much detail. You don't come by that often, despite the fact people want to praise all these mediocre looking RC cars and claim that they look so much better, even though they clearly look like an RC car. Apparently other people need to get glasses too. So I came from a place of like I didn't care about any of the other stuff, and I found the car worth it because I knew that realistically I could sell any of the figures that came with it and bring that price down. I actually had already made a deal with Dave Wonder to where he'd get first dibs if on anything unlocked because he wanted the figures but he didn't want the car. So I kind of went into it with that mindset of like I don't necessarily need the figures that come with it, so I could help someone else out and kind of bring the hurt down from my wallet a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think this does two things. One, I think that the biggest thing that hurt it is the fact that people were already in a very hostile mood towards Hasbro over the past 6 months to a year because
Sure.
they've gone to the plasticless packaging, which everyone is upset about because either you're an inbox collector and you don't like it, the boxes look shitty, you are afraid of figure swaps, or you want to be able to see the paint apps and stuff because let's face it, Hasbro's QC process isn't the greatest. And then the fact that on top of that, they increased prices more than any other company has over the past year, claiming inflation and all this. So from the start, you're dealing with a very hostile situation, and then you come in with that price point, which normally, I think if there wasn't that already kind of prereq of people being upset at Hasbro, probably been easier to swallow because we've seen other projects from other companies in a similar price point. So it probably would have been not quite as bad. I'm not saying that you wouldn't have heard the outcries because you would have. It's the internet. That's what the internet's there for.
Yep.
But
and to masturbate with.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you're angry masturbating.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it would have been quite as bad of a situation had they not already fucked up prior to this and pissed everyone off. I think if everyone was in a better space, it would have been fine. The second thing that worries me is I don't think this does what people think it does. I don't think they realize they're not sending a message to the man and like we run this show, you do what we want. No, this tells them, okay, well, Marvel Legends line just doesn't get vehicles. It doesn't work. Because at the end of the day, the Marvel Legends team doesn't get to decide these price points. It's the rich jackasses at the round table at the top of the tower who make these choices, and they're being run now by a guy who used to run Wizards of the Coast, which was like Magic of the Gathering, and that's all about value collecting. That's the premise of trading cards. So they're gonna milk it for all they're worth, and they'll take and overcharge 10 people before they take a loss in profit per figure for 20 people any day at this point. So I don't think it's sending a message to them that you better lower your prices or we aren't going to do it. Because guess what, they came out and said, hey, we did not come anywhere near our goals last quarter with profits, but it's not our fault. It's because people didn't want to pay our prices. They didn't take responsibility and say it's because of increase in costs or we raised prices and it hurt us. They literally victim shamed us for not wanting to pay their prices. So that tells me they aren't going to learn any lesson from this.
Okay. Jarmar, I want to go to you and then I want to come back to a point that you said, Michael.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm like probably the farthest removed from this, being the person who hasn't like backed or HasLab or really been like that intrigued in the idea of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've discussed, Hasbro on many occasions, but in one of the episodes that we discussed the HasLab process, I think it's becoming more a victim of its success from some of like the popular things that have been back, like the ones you mentioned at like 28, 23,000. I think that the expectation now is going to be what figures, what extra are we getting? We're not buying this for like the 350 or 300 is not for what you're showing now. I know that there's going to be more. So what am I going to get? And I don't know if the trickle down method is going to work. I know it keeps them in like I guess the word is like keeps them in the news, like keeps them being talked about if they keep dropping things week to week or day to day or whatever. So I personally think the HasLab thing now is sort of like a flawed system because of its own success. So that's where I kind of am coming from. Like, you're gonna get situations like this. Sure, people were pissed off at Hasbro, but I mean, has people not ever been pissed off at Hasbro? This can't be like the first time people. I know there's a lot going on, but like, there's a lot more heat their direction than normal, I would say. But I just
think it's
that,
coming in a lot of different factors. Normally, it's
right.
It's just there's one particular
way I didn't get the character I wanted in this way.
Right.
There's another character getting another.
Or
figure.
You're making too many of.
It's rarely a fucking like a combination of several things at once.
Right. But that's still just my overall opinion. I just think that either the process should change because it's not gonna be a guarantee hit for everything, but like maybe this is my assumption. I think being more upfront with the HasLab and say, hey, this is what we have as a plan, that could maybe help it out to be a little bit more successful, so people get that right off the bat. I know there's different incentives and stuff like that, but that's part of the reason why I feel like this one. Plus, I mean, people like to hate things, so it got initial amount of hate, and then it just kind of got railroaded from there as well. So I don't think that it's 100% that people hate Hasbro. I think people always hate Hasbro. I just think that it's
one thing I found.
I'm just curious to see what's coming next, to see how I'm more excited for the next one to see what's announced and like how it's received.
Well, and it's funny you should say that because one kind of snuck out over the last couple of days that really wasn't announced. I don't even know if it was on the 1027. I don't think it was.
I didn't see it. I saw it just get tweeted. That was it.
Yeah. And it was crazy. So Transformers has their current HasLab. I was just looking at it up right now. This is Deathsaurus. This is from Transformers Victory. This is another Japanese series and is a counterpart character to the Star Saber Victory that came out last year, or was a HasLab last year. We haven't received them yet, but they're scheduled soonish. So that came out, I think Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. I don't know. It is already at 5,621 backers with a goal of 11,000. Okay. So it is already surpassed the highest point that the Ghost Rider was.
I thought Ghost Rider was at. Ghost Rider almost hit that 6,000 to get Robbie though. When they did that first week, they were like, "Oh, if we hit 6,000, we'll give you the alternate Robbie Reyes figure." It was at like 50.
One point.
Yeah, at one point it was at like 58 something. It was just was short.
It could be. It could be. I won't say that you're wrong. However, with this one, the inherent value is already there. Okay. People have, I didn't even know that they had announced 2 of the stretch goals until I'd already committed to backing it. I saw the value in what they were offering. It's $189.99 or $179.99, excuse me.
Wow, that's
so it is under $200.
Is that the least expensive HasLab they've done?
Well, the Victory Saber was also around that price.
Huh.
So if it wasn't $179, it might have been $189. But yeah. So right there, that helps. Now it's not quite like that's a Titan class price, and I think it's more of a core class size. But again, I haven't received it yet, so I don't exactly know. And I know with Victory Saber that we're getting multiple things that all go together. But already, it's got that many. I don't see people quitting it or leaving it at any rate going forward if they don't get what they want. You know what I'm saying? Like if the Ghost Rider did actually make it that high, then people backed off when they didn't get what they wanted. So just real
it
quick,
lost almost 1,000 backers after Robbie didn't get funded.
Yeah. So far, the two things that they've shown is a cannon of some kind with effects and a throne, which are cool little extras. But they're not going to make or break that's not just making me decide to get this.
Yeah.
That's the kind of project I like. They got to be careful because the Sky Striker, the wildly successful Hiss tank, and I'll give it that, even the Galactus have become package bundles. And that's not what this should be. This shouldn't be a way to get one large item and then multiple figures out. This should be a dream project, not just an extra route of distribution for semi-large or expensive premium items. I just don't feel that that's the case. I also, even though I back the Hiss tank, am not much of a believer in world building within the 6-inch scale as far as vehicles. I don't think they work. I think they're too big. I've had several over the years. I end up having no room for them. They're too expensive, and they become problems in your display because they are so big, and you have then a couple of them, and it just derails everything. And so I don't think that that's the route to take. Thoughts?
I mean, I believe there are people out there for 1/12 scale vehicles, because hell, there's people out there who pay thousands of dollars for 1/6 scale vehicles to have displayed. So I think having it at that 6-inch scale, because 6-inch scale is the most popular scale out there, like in action figures, I feel. So to have those options available, because this isn't supposed to be for everybody. This is supposed to be like a dream project. So a dream project would be to have something like, say, an X-Jet.
But do you think there's enough people? Like, I think one of the biggest concerns I think all collectors deal with is space.
Oh, 100%. And
we know that.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, trust me, I'm fucking in a very small space over here, and I still make it work. I that's why I think like it has to be something where that's why they have these 10,000 units goals, because they know, okay, that's how much we can do minimum to make money off this and be happy with it and consider it a success. Okay, well, considering there's probably hundreds of thousands of collectors out there, I feel like if 10,000 people have that one vehicle, I think that's a fair number to assume that those people have the space or will, even if they're only going to have it on display for a little bit at a time and then put it somewhere else. Like mine, it probably wouldn't go on the shelf. It would have been used for photos and then put with the rest of my like diorama stuff until I needed it for more photos. It wouldn't have been on any of these shelves at any point in time, because I wouldn't have a need for it.
But there was only 5,000 people that were willing to do that.
I know.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think that's his whole point, is that if it's not enough in general.
Here's my counterpoint, though. That wasn't 5,000 people not willing to buy a vehicle at that size. That was 5,000 people who wanted something Ghost Rider related, because I was in the minority of people who wanted it for the car. A lot of people, the 5,079 people who weren't me, more than likely wanted it for the whole package deal. So that's a different scenario then. You're not running into, oh, this is, hitting all the people who want that scale for a vehicle. You're advertising to Ghost Rider fans. If the Ghost Rider fans don't find it that value, then you're probably having even less people than you already did. Because realistically, do think by the time I sell all the stuff, I probably would have been closer to a 250 to 200
you'd
price
have got
point.
More. Well, I mean, unless you were given a buddy discount, but you could have made more on those figures had they funded. But do you think then the blame falls more on the selection of the item, like it being a modern Ghost Rider?
100%, because people, like, it was clear from day one, people were butthurt because the crowd that you're catering to is mostly people who want that old stuff from their childhood, the characters they grew up with. They don't want these modern versions. They don't want Robbie Reyes. They don't want Mighty Thor. They don't want Sam Wilson, Captain America. They're stuck in their ways, and they want the specific characters that you're having the anniversaries of, which is fine. You can like what you like. But at the end of the day, like, that also is on Hasbro at that point. Like, if you're going to do that, maybe it would have been smart to have one of the stretch goals be a classic Johnny Blaze with the original cycle, like update articulation or something to spice it up, so that way you get both the people who are fans of the new and fans of the old to kind of come together for it.
That would be quite expensive.
I mean, it was already quite expensive.
I know, but like, I think that was also another issue that people had, was the price. So like,
but if they, at that point,
well, it's $600.
Well, it wouldn't have been $600. It would have been maybe would have put it up to $400. But no, I'm saying you could even have gotten rid of just had
the original
the thing itself, the Blaze, and then Mephisto. Just those three, and I think those three at around that $350 price point, you would have probably had a better success than having. I don't even remember who the other two people were, because I don't even fucking know who they are. I just know it was
Madeline Pryor and Damian Hellstrom.
Yeah, it was some lady that a bunch of people were mad that a toy didn't have her titties hanging out. I'm like, come on, bro. Yes, there are. I've seen modern pictures of that character displayed on social media where her tits are not out. She is wearing that set costume. Well, so people being butthurt that a fucking 6-inch girl doesn't have her titties out, that tells me more about you than Hasbro at that point.
Well,
just saying.
Listen, Michael, you freaked out when your Cyclops doesn't have the proper pouches in the right place, because that's your Cyclops. Some people who are huge X-Men fans of the 80s grew up on that version of Madeline Pryor. It maybe was their first sexual experience. I don't know. I came to the book much later. So yes,
hold on. I need to unpack this Cyclops thing. What are you talking about? Pouches in the right place?
You were bitching the other day that you didn't get the Cyclops you wanted from the team.
No, it's because the retro line, like, they jump around to all these different versions and don't complete fucking teams. So you have some Jim Lee, some X-Factor, some original.
You want a certain version of it. Mm-hmm. This is what I'm saying.
But this is a publicly traded toy company. They're not gonna.
I know, but I'm just saying.
But it's a HasLab, so
that doesn't matter. It's still like.
Let's just say it's 30% perverts, 70% people who want a comic accurate version. I'm not saying that all action figures should have their underboobs show, and I'm just saying I do understand a little bit that it doesn't look like the version that they remember. Okay, my first sexual experience was Princess Leia and Jessica Rabbit. So just throwing it.
I will say the thing that cracked me up is at NYCC, there was someone who interviewed the HasLab team. And they said that they did it, and there's plenty of room for customization if you want to. They like acknowledged it. They're like, listen, this is comic accurate. She has been seen in this exact costume. If you want to paint her titties, do it. That's not on us. Yeah. Like, they're a toy company. They can't put titties out there. I'm sorry.
All right. So just real quick, Jarmar, Michael, what is one thing that you think Hasbro should do to improve the next HasLab project?
Well, my question initially was going to be, how many Marvel Legend HasLabs outside of I guess you have the Sentinel and
Sentinel and Galactus.
There's been 3.
And Galactus, so this is technically the third one. Okay, so there has not been another one with a vehicle. Okay, so what they can do is just not do a vehicle. It's just been proven.
Well, and that is part of it. Like, Sentinel and Cyclops were both very large scale figures.
Right.
And not really vehicles. So,
and they did come out and say that if they made Galactus now, he would have been closer to $500.
Right.
So, like, you have to keep in mind that times have changed. Like, things aren't
very quickly.
Hell, fucking, I paid almost $40 for a retro Beast figure that probably would have been $30 a year ago. So, like,
yeah,
that's fair. But no one ever likes that.
Oh, trust me, I heard. Yeah. I didn't like it either, but I accept it because that's how America works. It has nothing to do with anything other than just how things are. Like, it's been that way since well before any of us were born. So to pretend that it's not is why I think it's kind of laughable. But I think the thing that they need to do is they need to, like, nothing against Ghost Rider. Great property. I don't think there was any chance, no matter what they did, it had the same popularity as the other two did.
Absolutely.
Which, even if it would have been Johnny Blaze, for the price point they would have had to reach, and like to do something outrageous that they couldn't put at retail, there was nothing they could have done differently with this one to make it more successful. So I think the biggest thing is to stick with properties that have a huge popularity, because those, no matter how outlandish people say the price are, they'll pay $500 for another one of those if they put it back up with a different paint job or something. They'll pay the money if it's something they want enough. And Ghost Rider just isn't that thing that people want enough. Hence why, aside from that brief moment in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where he showed up, we had those 2 movies, and that's it. And aside from jokes, there hasn't been really
perfect.
There hasn't been really any talks of bringing a Ghost Rider back. So,
well, I will say we will get Ghost Rider again for sure. There's
100% at some point, yeah.
But what I would say, if like giving them, because they would probably say, well, okay, give us a solution. That's not a solution. How about doing just like a poll? I mean, a solution,
picking a popular property versus one that doesn't have that backing is a solution.
How can they do that? So what I would say is
Spider-Man, X-Men.
Well,
fucking
if you
Avengers.
listen. How about create a poll, like bring things together, like an idea, and just post it up for, I don't know, let the HasLab babies, I don't know, what do they call it when you have a Hasbro
the premium
plus
people?
Premium people? I don't know.
It's one of those clusters. What's it called?
Yeah. What is it? HasLab
Preemies,
Elites?
I guess.
I don't know. But like allowing people that are like the most dedicated to Hasbro, like vote and say like, hey, these are things that we like to see. You take those 3: Spider-Man, Avengers, and I don't know, Cyclops. I don't know. I'm just saying whatever. But like maybe letting the people who are gonna be backing vote on that, and maybe it'll take a little bit longer for these to come out in between time, but that will give them an opportunity to know that it's gonna be a surefire hit if we have like a response for these certain things. You know what I mean? Because you don't want it to just be like, all right, we picked Spider-Man, and everyone's like, oh, we don't want a Spider-Man right now. We want blah, blah, blah. Like, let people vote. And I think that would probably help.
I like the idea of voting, but I don't like the idea of putting it behind a paywall. I feel like you're just there's already a lot of animosity over the fucking cost of this stuff
or something.
So you're like, hey, in order to help decide the next HasLab, you have to pay us $50 a year or whatever it is to get a say.
A Pulse membership.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Just regular Pulse membership.
Just send out an email to the people who've funded it in the back,
or
in the past.
That's a good option.
That would be a better option than put it behind a paywall.
I'm not saying I get what you're saying. I like it, but just make it a Pulse account. Not
you don't want like a Twitter poll.
Just put it up on their fucking website. That's all you need to do. HasbroPulse.com.
You still want it to be
people who actually care. Yeah.
All right. So Michael, what would you do?
Oh, that's what he said.
I said pick more popular things because I honestly think like it's childish to think that they're going to lower the price, because they're not. The next thing's going to be just as expensive, if not more expensive. It's just going to be a matter of if it has the popularity or not. It's as simple as that, because Ghost Rider's cool, but he's not as popular as Spider-Man, not as popular as X-Men, not as popular as Fantastic Four. People are excited for the Midnight Suns movie, TV show, whatever it is, to come out because he might show up again, but it's not to the point where people are like fucking making hashtags to bring back Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider.
Right.
So, although that's a good idea.
I enjoyed those movies. I don't care what anyone says.
Last point last question before I make my point. Would a Blackbird have done 10 times better than Ghost Rider?
Depending on scale and price point, yes. I believe that
X-Men
is popular
enough. You're saying you 6-inch collectors want vehicles.
We do.
There's no better test than an X-Men.
Oh, I agree. If they did that would be the nail in the coffin. If they could sell an X-Jet that's mildly in scale, to at a price point that, I mean, at that point, I'm assuming it's gonna be at least $600. Let's be real. If they can get that to fund, then that proves the point. Okay. So, and even then, G.I. Joe proved the point with the Hiss tank. So,
well, and that was going to be my point again. Same kind of with you. Pick stronger properties. Not that Marvel Legends isn't a strong property, but pick something stronger out of that as well. Lean on your past successes, G.I. Joe. Maybe that's where you make vehicles available for the most part, is keep plugging at that G.I. Joe. People are thirsty for more Joes. Also, because I'm slightly biased, but G.I. Joe or Star Wars Vintage Collection has been a massive success, and that is exactly the kind of stuff that we are here for. So where's our Rebels Ghost ship? That should be the next HasLab. So let's go to the next thing that really pisses people off. Plastic-free packaging.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Whoo, boy. The topic that got us to 1,000 subscribers.
Have we all purchased something with a plastic-free package at this point?
I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you got Ironheart and you got Namor and
Yep.
The VHS.
Yeah, and the VHS stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing I got two things. I got two of the 2-packs. I got the Doc Ock 2-pack and the Venom 2-pack. I don't think I've bought any single figures from Marvel Legends yet.
So we're seeing them. Real quick. They're out there. Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm just gonna go on the record before Michael probably rants or whatever. I, as a pretty much purely open box collector, minus the fact that everything that I have right now is in boxes, I don't mind the plastic free packaging. I think it's whatever for the environment, cool. I like it's so much easier to open and get everything out of, and then you get rid of it. It's awesome. I get the idea behind like the figure swaps and things like that, but as long as I've been buying figures, I've never had that happen. Knock on wood. The QC problem, yeah, that's a bit of an issue. Actually, what was the last thing that I bought that was my Okoye that I got. It's like a little blemish on the head, which is a bummer because it
nail polish remover
so much. Oh, okay, so I'll try that.
Just Q-tip and a little bit, just literally a little bit of nail polish remover. It should come off.
We'll get it off of there.
Just be very careful, because if you fuck it up, you'll take off the other paint apps too.
Oh yeah, it's like, well, she's bald, so it's
I'm just warning you that if you like dump it on her head, her face is gonna melt off like Indiana Jones style. But yeah, if you just take like a little bit, put it in the cap, get a Q-tip,
just a little dab. Yeah, it's very, very, very minor to where I was like, oh, that sucks, but whatever. I'm not like looking at the package anyways like that, and I understand there's people that do that. So like, to me, there's only been pluses from the plastic free packaging. I haven't really had many negative experiences, and I feel bad for anyone who does. And if you do like to collect things in the box, that does suck. But like, I'm more on the side of like, it's not really that big of a deal. Now, would I like for the prices to go down because they're doing plastic packaging? Sure. But I don't think the plastic is really what was making the cost of the figures more expensive.
Well, let's be honest, they're getting a tax credit. So. Let's be real here. That's why they're doing
it. Yeah,
so they're getting a big old chunk of change from the government.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I just wanted to get in as the positive side, just in case you guys were both,
I mean, I'm negative on it. Yeah, you're gonna be real shocked because I'm for it for the most part, because I don't give a shit. I have maybe 7 things behind me that are in the box, and at least 5 of them are just hanging on the wall. They're the retro stuff, and that stuff's not going away. I think my only problem with it is 2 things. After merchandising the action figure section at my store and seeing that they are actually smaller than the original Marvel Legends packages, I think that I don't like, because even if you were someone who was going to stick with it just for whatever reason, now it even matches even less, but also it makes your fucking displays in the store look like shit, because now you've got these itty bitty boxes compared to everything else. So it bothers me all the time.
What? It makes sense to be smaller?
I mean, it does, but if you're trying to match it to the rest of the line and appeal to the people who you've pissed off, making it smaller is not the way to go. But for the most part, I have no problem with it. I think that they could do better with the packaging itself, and they already are paying for the artwork because it's in the background of every box. They could easily make the front have artwork on it instead of the stupid digital render. So it's more like the G.I. Joe and Transformers line, and it actually looks good. And we've lost Nate.
No,
but
I'm just getting as an example.
Okay. But beyond that, I also am an open box collector, and I'm for it because if you kill the inbox collector market, that means that the third party market becomes lower and it's easier to get things. So I'm all for it. You want to kill some value collecting? Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
That's what it needs to be. If they did that, it would be a night and day difference compared to the eyesores. Like, look at that. Like, even if it would just be the artwork in behind, look how cool that is with him peeking out with the web, with the city.
But I mean,
that looks so much fucking cooler than seeing the digital render of a figure. It just looks.
I agree. But that box is cool too, though.
But not nearly as cool. Like if you compare them, it is like.
Can we see the back?
Going from art like an amazing artwork to a child's fucking finger painting. Like that's the
like
difference.
if you have something like that, I'm pointing at as if you can see it, but like that background on the
exactly.
That would be pretty dope on the front.
Let me show you something. This I think is funny because this is an Amazon exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this has a lot of like what's called spot varnish on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it has glossy parts, duller parts. This is a nice looking box. This is not something that's ever going to see a store shelf. This is a nicer looking box. This box looks and feels like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is cheap. It is gross. Like it's already bent
biodegradable.
Up. I mean, it is.
I don't know.
Sure.
I'm just maybe that's why.
I love the idea. I do. I do. I love the idea. Single-use plastics is one of the worst things that are hurting the environment. But when you went, in Hasbro itself, going to this, then raising prices, and then you feel it, and it's so cheap, and then you literally pull out, a little plastic, or not even plastic, a little cardboard. You can almost turn this into like a gun thing for your figures. You could have this be like the strap in. That's the kind of shit I used to do as a kid.
He made fucking jetpacks for his figures.
Yeah. And inside, let me get this. This is what kind of burns me. Like inside, it's tissue paper.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just feels so like they talk about premium quality.
Fair.
And granted, the figures are improving head over feet. I mean, just look at the head sculpts and the everything looks amazing on them. It's just the boxes feel so incredibly cheap. I have been lucky. I haven't run into any issues with major QC issues. I haven't run into any swap. I'm very careful when I look, and I tend to buy things as soon as I see them, like as soon as they're brand new, and hope that they haven't been purchased, returned. But I do inspect things over. I have seen a lot of theft in stores already because it's, I think, a little easier and quieter.
Super easier to fucking get that shit out.
So I think my biggest issue with it is it is driving out the inbox collector, which is then causing the lines overall to suffer, and then therefore to make up that difference that then increases the price even more.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a buddy. He's a good friend of the show, Chucky B. He has every single Black Series figure that is in existence, and now that they're going to close boxes, he's like, I'll pick and choose. Like that's crazy. Like they're losing so much money on the table.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wish they would have come up with more of a compromise like they did with Transformers, where you could see the actual figure in the box.
Yeah.
There's got to be a way around it. I know the whole thought of popping the heads off and stuff like that is an issue, and it sucks that we have to, be concerned about idiot people like that. But there has to be a middle ground there, because, the price increase, the cheap quality, and not being able to see the figure has really caused a mashup. And, I think the biggest insult to injury, I don't know if you guys ever remember, there was a figure, I think it was mostly at GameStop originally. It was a Luke Skywalker figure. It was from the comic book series.
That's what I said they should have done.
Yes, very cool. The accessories were kind of like, they did have the plastic wire kind of things, but I'm sure they could do something else with that. But new comic figures were announced this week, and when you open the flap, it's a picture of the figure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't even give us that. And it's like, come on, man. There has to be some give and take there. You're losing people in droves. There has to be a compromise, and we need to see the figure. If you're going to go plastic free, it has to be a figure, or you just totally go back on it with collector driven lines like Marvel Legends, GI Joe Classified, anything that has
there's
that
even
cool
a compromise
name,
in the plastic. You don't have to have the insert. You could literally just do a plastic window,
right?
And you still use the cardboard and the tissue paper and all that bullshit. So you find that compromise where you just have that one sheet of plastic, everything else is cardboard, and that's at least a little bit better than having twisty ties, the plastic shell, another plastic shell holding in other pieces, like all the extra bullshit. So like at least there's a middle ground there that they could go to. But
you say that, but the one thing that I just want to bring up, like, a call attention to, is it's probably easier, like significantly easier, for them to package these figures, which would allow them to be maybe a little bit more efficient with it being things just in blacks. You know what I mean? So like that might be their concern. Like it's not just the plastic
saving more and more money. So
yeah,
that's the bummer. But to kind of push back on that and to kind of get your opinion on that. So the sense is that, prices are going up, the packaging is getting cheaper. However, the figures continue to get better. Not 100% across the board, but for the most part, the Marvel Legends that I do get, the GI Joe Classified figures that I get, there are some amazing innovations in articulation and posability that I'm not going to say rivals import figures, but are where import figures were a couple years ago. And we're getting them for less than $30.
Yeah.
Not a lot less.
Sorry. Yeah, I was like, right there. Right there.
Depends on what line you collect, Nate, because I definitely am paying more than $30 for some of these.
Well, yeah.
And I'm ironically getting the same figure they released 6 years ago, so.
Well,
they're not
collecting the wrong line.
70.
I don't know what to tell you there.
But yeah.
So where do you guys stand on that? I mean, where can they improve?
I got solutions all day. If you
let me go first before Captain Positivity hits in.
No, I have a legitimate.
I think the biggest thing is, yes, that a lot of things have improved, but if you look at it, it's specific things have improved. We've gotten updated Spider-Mans as far as like licensed wise. Most of the other figures have still been a lot of the reuse that we're used to, of retooling the same sculpts over and over again. So we are seeing it selectively throughout the line. I think if you're going to charge this much money, it needs to be more widespread. We need to see the love throughout a line, not, you're getting this figure which is still on an old body, this figure that's on an old body, this Boba Fett that's been released 7 times, and then you're getting one figure that's incredible. Like, you need to spread the love across everything, because no one wants fucking toast that has butter in the corner and the rest of it's dry. You want it fucking spread all over. So I think that's the solution, is instead of being picky about what you're going to spend the money on, spend it on everything, because people will pay more money if they'll go and buy an entire line again like they used to and spend $200 if all the figures are worth it. But if I'm going and getting a beast figure that is 4 or 5 years old in a new package with one new head and a coat, like, okay, well, I'm getting kind of ripped off because I'm paying $10 more than everyone else for the presentation, and I'm getting almost 80% reuse at this point. So it's like you can't just say, oh, well, Spider-Man gets fancy toe joints. Okay, well, what about everyone else? What about Black Panther? What about X-Men? What about Avengers? What are they getting?
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's obvious why. I mean, Batman sells, or not Batman, Spider-Man sells. I mean, Batman does sell.
He does. Trust me, Todd McFarlane just wrote you a check.
Right, maybe. Hasbro should be not listening to us, but listening to,
No, don't listen to Todd, because then every wave would be Spider-Man. We would never see
never
anything
get any
ever
other
again.
female characters.
You get 5 Spider-Man figures and 2 other figures per wave that are something else every wave.
I do like Spider-Man.
I do too, but that's a lot.
I just want to say, as far as like actually solving the issue at hand, as far as plastic-free packaging, right? Obviously, they have you guys have just showed multiple examples of different boxes that they could actually do, like maybe get better art that will be eye-catching and cool. I do feel like that's kind of weird to do a better. I would love to see better art. Because one of my favorite things from NECA is like the way they put like their thought into the packaging and the things that are on there. But if you can't see the figure, now you're just spending like $30 on just a box of like artwork. You know what I mean? At this point,
It's
you
cheaper
might
than
as well
buying a $50 print.
Yeah, but at this
then you
point,
have to buy which then you have to buy a $30 frame.
Or it's just like buying a physical NFT. I just had to say it. Okay.
All right. How do I kick him from the fucking group? Where is it?
Do something, maybe like you said, like a window or something like that. I totally get it. People were stealing LeBron heads, so people are.
But
just
that wasn't
crazy.
People doing it because they're like cheap and don't want to buy the figure. That was people on TikTok just being ignorant. That's a difference.
Well, but there's nothing to say that they wouldn't do the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
even
but I'm just saying, like,
so,
that's a different
because
scenario.
they would want the head.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm just saying it's
everybody just wants
problem.
the heads. You wouldn't want MCU head. That's all
you know why everyone wants the head? Because that's the only thing they fucking improve on in every figure.
Well, that's fair. I mean, but it's anyways. But to get to the idea of like the quality control, I think something, if they really or truly believe in the fact that plastic-free packaging is their future and they're doing it for a noble cause, a la save money, maybe instating something to say like, hey, if you get a figure with some really bad quality control and your store's refusing to return it or whatnot, reach out to us. We'll send you like a replacement or something along that lines. That would be cool. Another thing with the packaging that I want to just say as well is maybe even having like plastic-free packaging is going to be retail. That's just going to be it. That's how it is. However, somebody like friend of the show can order directly from Hasbro, like from Pulse, and then they have like a collector's edition of that same figure.
So would people buy it if it was $5 more?
That's what I'm saying.
I think some people would.
Yeah, that's literally my point.
One of my ideas.
Yeah. If you're like speak with your vote with your wallet, I think is the phrase, right? So if that's something that you would want, then you would do that, and then they can save money because then at that point they can make the packaging even cheaper at retail and save even more money. Because honestly, they could just give me a little box like this big, as long as my figure and everything is in there.
Oh yeah,
cool.
I love the boxes they do the army builder stuff in, where it's just literally a fucking
like something like that.
The size of the figure and you're done. I'm like, cool. It's so much easier for me to get rid of that versus having to tear it down.
That gives you a balance of both. Like those figures, I'm even cool with taking the tax of supporting other people because I'm just that kind of person. I'm just nice like that. So like, give me the cheaper box and still charge me the same, whatever. But then give a little bit more expensive option for those people who are in-box collectors. That it solves the issue of people taking off the heads because it's only going to be like direct ship for that box.
So
I think I just solved it.
I have another solution for the inbox collectors. So what if they went just balls deep into the carded lines instead of us giving us 10 figures a year? Every other wave is, like Black Series, you get one normal wave of Black Series. The next one is, either those same figures or other figures that are popular on those retro cards. So they're getting that reuse so they can double dip. And let's be honest, those are more collectible looking than anything else that they offered. Because don't get me wrong, I think the Black Series boxes are cool, but they've changed them 6 times. So no one's collection looks fucking good when you have 8 different style boxes.
There is, but that's the line that has been going on almost as long as Marvel Legends, almost 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have to refresh it from time to time. Although Marvel Legends stayed pretty much the same. I think they could have used a little bit of spruce up, but
I don't know. I think it could have stayed the same. There's no reason to.
Before we go too much longer on the plastic free, I want to hear from you. There's been some missteps over the last couple of years as well as far as lines. Ghostbusters never really seemed to really catch fire at retail. unfortunately. If you want to hear my thoughts on Ghostbusters as a whole, you might want to just call me or text me, and I'll tell you.
I thought this was gonna be a plug for an old podcast you were on. But like, nope, this is just okay.
Wait, so
maybe that'll be the new podcast. Yeah, that'll be my podcast title. It'll be called "Who You Gonna Call." I'm sure someone's already figured that out. But it didn't do well at retail. Overwatch didn't do well at retail. I don't know how well Fortnite is doing for Hasbro per se. Comparatively to what
well enough that they keep doing it.
I didn't know they had Overwatch, like the game.
Yeah. Yes,
I could fix Overwatch and Fortnite for them in the snap of a finger.
Well, you already know what I'm was Overwatch a 6-inch line? I thought that was
yes.
I thought it was a smaller line.
Nope, we haven't.
Skin in the game. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do.
They were cool figures too, but I think it was too late, and they went to close out stores really quickly.
Yeah.
In fact, they didn't even
if they would have waited for the second game to come out instead of doing it years after the first game came out, it probably would have been better.
Yeah, like some of the character choices was weird too. Like I think is it Diva? Is that right? Is that a character?
Yeah, but that's the one.
They only did a weird variant. In fact, they never got around to doing her regular. So
did the variant? Was the variant less sexy? Was that it or something?
It was just a color variation.
Okay, so I wasn't sure if it's such she had armor or something. I'm like, was it because she's just in a skin tight suit?
No, normally it's like white and purple. Mm-hmm. This one was like dark gray and stuff, and like black and purple. Mm-hmm. So, they've got the upcoming Indiana Jones line, which I have been on record as saying I think will do terrible at retail. It's not a reflection. I love Indiana Jones, but Indiana Jones has never flourished at retail, and I don't think it will now, other than Indiana Jones
and you know
himself.
what? As long as I get my Indiana Jones, I don't give a fuck at this point.
Right.
That's all I've wanted was a good Indiana Jones figure.
Right.
The fucking Figma Figure Arts one was and the older ones were so I just need something. Right now I've got the shitty one you can get at fucking Disneyland. Which is a terrible figure, mind you. So
all right. Yeah. So I want you guys to pick one line that Hasbro currently does and one improvement that you would do to it. And I'll start to kind of give you an example. So Power Rangers Lightning Collection. In the sake of Hasbro, let's say they put out 4 waves a year, not counting exclusives or retail specials or deluxe or whatever like that. Let's say they put out 4 waves a year. 3 of those waves, no matter what version that they do, maybe 2 of the waves, then half of the year needs to be Mighty Morphin Power Ranger focused, not the other teams. And that pains me to say, as someone who likes those figures, likes to see those teams fleshed out, they don't do well at retail because the kids or the people who are buying those figures are the nostalgic ones for that early team, those early seasons. They're not there yet for those later seasons, and those kids are still, they're like teenagers now, and they don't give a shit about beer. They don't care about action figures, and they will in a few years.
They're busy buying players.
So, right. So my thing would be just to keep it Mighty Morphin Power Ranger focused, whether that's different color variations, different head variations, just, more aliens and things like that. That's the bread and butter for that line. And then have your kids line that it's based around whatever current show is on the air. That would be that'd be one small step to improve one of their lines at retail.
So for clarification, we are improving this line for the greater good, not for ourselves, correct?
Correct. Okay. Because we are saving Hasbro.
That's why I said that's hard. Honestly, that would have been
because I don't give a shit how it does at retail. I just wanted
more Spider-Man.
I just want my stuff.
No. Yeah, you can make it, but I mean, it has to just what could help. What do we think would help Hasbro?
I mean, I know what the community wants, and it's never going to happen. So like.
It has lay it on it.
Well, lay it on us.
I mean, the thing the community wants would be for them to like bring back the windows or bring down the prices, and neither of those two things are going to happen. So, if I had to choose something for them to do to improve the lines overall, I think I'm going to hunker down and say, we'll say Marvel Legends. Improve your sculpts throughout an entire line, not just pick and choose one or two figures. and also fucking stick to something like a team and finish it. Don't make people wait a year to continue a team that they've already started.
I know that's the tangential carrot that is always, leading us along. But I agree with you. People are getting frustrated of waiting sometimes years.
Yeah, for
I
one
mean,
fucking
years.
character to finish a team or something. Like, it's absurd.
Yeah. 100% agree. That does need to be a focus. You find whatever team or whatever thing that you're dealing with and make that a focus.
Yeah, like even if you're like, because Marvel Legends does like what, 10 waves a year. So if you
probably more
than we'll say
there's like 3 hitting retail right now.
Yeah,
and 2 of them are Disney Plus waves.
So let's say 15 waves a year.
Can't find none of them.
You could literally say 4 of those waves, two sets of 2 are strictly team based. It's nothing but that version of that team. And the second wave is that. So even if you have to fucking break it up to where like one arrives in February and one arrives in July or something, and that's like your carrot, that's fine. But at least you have the same year you're finishing your team versus maybe never finishing your team.
And I know you kind of said don't worry about the budget, but they have to worry about the budget.
Oh, yeah.
But I would even say in that case, make it an annual budget and not just a budget for the wave.
Exactly.
Because then maybe you could really focus on reuse in one wave when it makes sense and make it a really cheap wave to produce, and then your next wave is all new tooling and it evens itself out.
Exactly. Like if you're doing like they're doing the yellow and blue costumes for the X-Men, you could literally do an entire wave of that with 90% reuse. Like the only character in that who really has anything drastically different, which they did, is Banshee because he has his collar. Beyond that, most of the other characters, it's just a fucking generic body with that suit on. So like you could do that easily, and people will buy it up because it's that version of the character that they want. Like you mentioned earlier, how I wanted the Jim Lee Cyclops on the retro card, so I can flesh out that team. It's super easy to do. Also, quit being picky little bitches and be like, we can't release the same characters in the same style more than once a year. Fuck you. Just give me what I want, bitch.
Jesus, you're supposed to be helping.
I am helping. Because guess what? They would have gotten another $40 from me if I would have gotten Jim Lee Cyclops. If I would have gotten.
That's what it's all about. The $4 or the $40.
The $40. Yeah. Let's spend a couple. Let's spend a couple $100,000.
Hey man,
just saying. Let's get Michael's $40.
Just saying, they literally could that. That's reuse. All they're doing is not putting the cell shading on it, and they're putting it in a different package, and it's the difference between me buying it and me not. So. I'm not the only person who's in that scenario. There's some people who don't like the cell shading. There's some people who do. There's some people who don't want the animated. Some people want the Jim Lee. There's ways they could do it.
How sexy, though, is that blue shading on the black costume Spider-Man that looks like the old comic books? Like, I think of it less as the cartoon and just like the comics.
It's sexy.
Because they would put that blue shading on there. I thought I was out, but...
yeah, that...
And then also just release symbiote costume Spider-Man all day long. Just re-release that once a year.
Just every year.
Just slightly. The next time you add the toe articulation, just so it's slightly different figure. I mean, really, they could do it because so many artists have done him to the point where the only difference really is the eyes that you can tell.
That's something. This is for a whole nother show. Maybe we should save this, but I'll hint at this. Like a dream wave would be. I wish they would do more artists specific interpretations because they kind of did it when they did the Alex Ross Iron Man and Captain America, which were phenomenal figures. But how great would it be to get, like I think was it Ed McGuinness that did that Green Goblin way back in the day that was really weird looking? No, it wasn't. Humberto Ramos.
Yeah,
that's who it was. Yeah, like something like that would be amazing. All right, I'm getting off topic. Toy Biz used to do that.
I think they'd have to heavily imply it because otherwise they have to pay the artist, and they don't want to do that clearly.
It's true too. They don't have to say that. They can just, put out this Spider-Man and be like, "Hey, Spider-Man.
Yeah,
what it is.
You know.
Yeah,
but then
Jarmar?
Anyways, God, man, yeah. So Hasbro, there's only really Marvel Legends that I have, and I only really do MCU for shelf representation, and MCU is kind of what it's happened over the past few years. So I don't know. I don't think I have a real huge gripe other than
No, it's not gripes. How are you going to fix something?
Yeah.
well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, what can I?
What would you?
Well, so
what would you,
I
what
used
would
the
you
wrong
think
word.
they
I
could
used
do
the wrong
well?
word. What is a pain point for people in Marvel Legends line right now? And we've already said, like, you know, not
Money.
getting specific things,
Yeah.
the cost, and you know, things like that. Where I don't really see those as like a realistic changes. That's something that they could just easily fix. I don't know if this is even really a huge issue, but maybe just a clearer like rollout with the waves. Personally, with me, I just feel like it's hard to keep up with. Did I know something? Yeah, it's just hard to keep up on what waves are coming out, when they're going to be released, and it would be great, especially MCU related things. As you know, I guess we're probably on the same page with this. Is okay. The movie's coming out next month. The wave comes out in, you know, that week or something like that to give you know, a
counterpoint real
little
quick.
bit of clarification.
Counterpoint is then you have people who are going to be butthurt about spoilers. Because you can't do like with
Well, the waves are already coming out beforehand.
Oh, I know, but that's
but
more
like
so
they're
just
coming out like 3 months in advance.
But
When did the Black Panther?
Well, here's
like,
the thing: you have to remember these
Panther,
movies got delayed while these figures were
That's
already
fair.
in.
That's fair.
In,
That's fair.
But Jamar hit on exactly a perfect point.
But-
Maybe you didn't quite mean it this way, but I took it this way.
Oh.
Because I'll tell you one of my huge annoyances. So a couple weeks ago they had PulseCon.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
so they showed off 2 new Star Wars Vintage Collection figures, and everybody was like, "Oh, only 2?" And then literally the next day, Walmart showed off an exclusive that they were going to have. And then a couple of days later, they had the 1027 and they showed off another figure. And then 2 days after that was the London Comic Con, and they showed off 3 more figures. And then on the Bring the Galaxy Home Monday, they showed another Vintage Collection figure. So over the course of 2 weeks, they showed
That was more
8
that was
different
like 3 or
figures.
4.
Yeah. But like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, that's ridiculous. And that's just one line, let alone all the Black Series and then the Marvel Legends. It's just like, okay, you used to do those Fan First Fridays. Go back to that. Show us a full wave. Let
Like
us
when?
pre-order it and then move on to the next brand.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's. I mean, I guess I'm going by like clearer waves as far as like when
He wants to when it's
things
coming
are
out.
I just
Okay.
want to know when it's coming out. When should I expect it to hit stores? Sort of like my gripe with NECA. Just say, hey, it's coming out this time. They used to do the calendar. That was amazing until it wasn't amazing.
I don't think it
So yeah,
was
something
it was
similar
amazing
like
for
that.
5 seconds when they posted it, and we're like, sweet.
I think,
and then it went all
Well,
wrong. It was
I
like that
think
fucking
part of
TikTok,
that
and
is
nothing
there
can
has
go
been-
wrong.
Listen,
there has been shipping issues out of their control.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. That's fair. And they were initially sticking to it. It kind of went well. But anyways, that's a whole nother company that we need to fix. But
mhm.
Check out next
yeah,
week.
that's what I would recommend is just like obviously clear announcements and stuff like that. Maybe they have partnerships that Walmart has to announce certain things and everyone, you know, they have like that kind of thing. But that would be my biggest thing, so I can follow the specific lines that I'm in from a casual's perspective. I don't want to be like, you know, watching the videos and stuff of like when it's announcing.
These
and
are
when it's
collectors'
releasing.
lines, Jamar. Get out here if
Okay.
you're casual bullshit.
Well,
I just want them to email me like it's 2003. No.
do you want my money or not? That's all I'm saying. But
This is funny.
Yeah, I'd rather not be surprised, especially when like these lines are like selling out and not being available and just being difficult, because then it makes me just think like, whatever, I don't want it then.
Well, I'm,
Like,
I'm
it's
sorry,
just
what
one
lines are you collecting that sell out?
I'm not saying sell out, but it's been a little bit less of an issue before. But that last year of like trying to collect the
Ninja Turtles?
the Disney Plus stuff, that was
that was 100%
Those
just
waves.
Scarlet Witch though. That was on
But it
them
wasn't-
for,
I mean,
for not putting
yeah.
her in the boxes. They for whatever reason she should have been 2 per case, not 1 per case.
But that was probably one of the hardest ones that I ended up getting. It's just like,
The funny thing is now
I
she's not
just-
hard to get at all.
hey, I just would like to see that maybe a little bit more transparency, or one place that I can just click and see, oh cool, these are going to be out next week. Maybe that exists. I don't know.
I mean, it does. It's called content creators. There's several that you could follow that tell you
Okay.
that stuff.
Well, maybe if I knew a specific content creator that was a channel that I would like to subscribe to, then I probably would. But Definitely not this one.
Well, that's why we don't do the news anymore.
Well,
so
yeah,
we do shit like this where we fucking talk about hot topics to get fucking people to view the show.
You two get started. One last question.
NFTs.
Should all Marvel figures come with NFTs?
No.
Yes. NFTs.
Okay,
because imagine if you...
That's the future.
Imagine if you wanted the line to really go under, that's how you do it.
Here you go. I have the perfect NFT. Everyone loved the Portal moment in Infinity War. What if you... Was it in-game? What if you could own that portal? Like, you just get a clip, like you buy one figure and you get just that one portal, and you get to watch that clip all the time, but just from the one portal perspective. It's so like...
I don't even know what that means. Did we save Hasbro? What
I think we
would
did.
you do to save Hasbro? And I hand it back to Michael to wrap everything else up.
Yes, as Nate said, please let us know in the comments below what you think we discussed right, what we think is wrong, if you have a better idea than we do, or just give us your angry comments about Hasbro because it helps the algorithm. Before we close things out, though, there's one last thing I do want to bring up, and that is that this upcoming Saturday, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be bringing our OnlyFigs weekly live stream over to Dave Wonder's channel. You can check it out, youtube.com/Dave Wonder or twitch.tv/Dave Wonder. He is doing his 24-hour marathon stream, a bad idea for a good cause with Extra Life. It's a great charity stream he does. This is his second year doing it. We are very lucky to be a part of it. So he's going to be going from Saturday the 5th into Sunday the 6th, from 4 p.m. CST to 4 p.m. CST the next day. So please make sure to check that out. And of course, come see us at 11 p.m. Again, youtube.com/Dave Wonder or twitch.tv/Dave Wonder. Yes, Nate?
And as a bit of a tease, I got several pretty nice premium non-retail items this week.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
I can't reach it. Fuck, where is it?
So, good stuff you're not going to see in any
I
regular
do have
store.
let me put my earbuds back in so I can hear you. I do have a tease that hopefully will entice people. If assuming you don't follow me on TikTok, you will get to see the unveiling.
I don't.
Of my selfie series this Saturday on OnlyFigs. That's right. You won't be able to see it on our channel. It will be exclusively on his until I probably inevitably make a video of my own weeks from now when I run out of content because figures stop shipping. But in the meantime, that'll be the only way to see it aside from our TikTok. So make your choice. Do you want to be a Gen Zer and go on TikTok, or do you want to just come and watch a charity stream? Other than that, though, oh God, that's terrifying.
I was like, I almost got so confused on what I was looking at.
Fucking terrifying.
So confusing. Also, I didn't realize it was that much bigger.
Oh man. Yeah. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. Helps us out and also gets you more toy-related content. We've got the reviews every week. We've got Let's Pose videos. We've got our weekly live stream recap. We've got the podcast. We've got Toy Therapy. We've got Smash or Pass, all sorts of fun stuff. So please check out our other videos. You can check us out on twitch.tv most Wednesdays, twitch.tv/Modern Toy Fair. Sorry, I guess I should finish the URL. Most Wednesdays, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we go over our weekly purchases on OnlyFigs. If you want to be there live and talk to us and chat with us, that's where you want to be. And if you want to see some of the lovely pictures at the end of the reviews that I do, you can hit us up on Instagram and Twitter. If you want to see whatever ridiculous shit I'm up to, like showing off my selfie series figure, head over to TikTok. All of it is at Modern Toy Fair. You can check Jarmar out over at metal.tv/Jarmar_games.
I love this.
And Nate, what do you got for us this week?
We got a new video podcast coming out. It's going to be on YouTube Premium coming up soon. It's called Bidet Business, and I will be reviewing bidets. You'll get to see my face as I shoot water up my butt each time with each new thing, and you'll get to hear my thoughts.
Now, are you going to mic up the bidet so you hear the...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Might as well.
All right.
I've been in the market for one, so...
Well, it has been scientifically proven that people who own a bidet are much happier.
That's true.
Sure. All right, then. So yeah, go watch Nate squirt water in his butthole, and you only have to pay OnlyFans fees for that one. Just have a YouTube Premium account, which I think just gets rid of ads. I don't know how that works.
I don't.
Please make sure to check out either of the videos below. We have this week's review of the Mofex Black Suit Symbiote Spider-Man, and we have last week's episode of the podcast. As always, you know, I already said like and subscribe, so go do that again. But hopefully
the downstairs business.
Please go do that. But hopefully we'll see you next week. Same toy time, same Toy Fair channel. Thank you for watching.
I'm gonna do this after every episode.
No gang signs.